All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the mind of a true modern empire builder. We're going to deconstruct the playbook of Alejandro Betancourt López to figure out how on earth he consistently spots these massive opportunities way, way before the market does.
And it all kicks off with this number, 50 million euros. Back in 2016, this was one of the biggest startup investments in the history of Spain. It was a huge, huge bet on a little sunglasses company that was kind of struggling. So that's the million-dollar question, right? Or, well, the 50 million euro question. With that kind of cash on the line, what's your genius strategy? Do you go out and buy a bunch of ads in Vogue? Hire some A-list movie star? The actual answer is surprisingly simple and, frankly, a little bit wild. Yep, you heard that right. Instead of paying for prestige and glossy magazine covers, he doubled down on a strategy that sounds almost too simple to work. Just give the product away, for free, to hundreds and hundreds of college students and micro-influencers. So let's break this down. First up, the 50 million euro sunglasses bet. This is the story of a company called Hawkers and how a deceptively simple idea totally upended the entire fashion industry. You see, the old way of doing things was all about paying millions for that feeling of prestige. Hawkers just flipped that whole script on its head. They understood that trust had shifted away from the big, fancy magazines and toward real people. Their whole game was built on social proof, not some polished ad. And this just lays it out perfectly. It was a simple 4-step engine. You find people with a few thousand followers who actually fit your brand. Then you send them free stuff, no strings attached. And what happens? You get authentic posts that feel like a real friend recommending something, not a cringy paid ad. And that authenticity, it drove sales way more effectively than a glossy magazine spread ever could. And you don't have to take my word for it. Here it is from the man himself. He knew this wasn't just a gimmick. It was a fundamental disruption. He didn't invent the tactic, no, but he had the vision to pour 50 million euros into scaling it around the world before anyone else really caught on. Now, this Hawker story, it's not really about sunglasses. It's a window into a much, much deeper philosophy. And that brings us to section 2, predicting the value chain. And this is the real question, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to spot a clever little marketing tactic. It's a whole other thing to bet your reputation and a fortune on it. How did he know that social media marketing was the absolute perfect place to be in 2016? The answer is all about this core concept. It's not about following trends. It's about seeing an entire industry, its whole life cycle, and predicting where the most profit, the most value, is going to be captured next. And you put your chips there, right before the whole thing shifts. He calls it luck, but, his track record kind of suggests it's a finely tuned skill. He's developed this uncanny ability to see the invisible patterns that show where an industry is going. He doesn't chase the money, he just gets to where the money is going to be. And to really get it, he uses these amazing historical examples. Think about the early days of oil. Rockefeller knew the real power wasn't drilling the oil, it was refining it. He controlled that link in the chain. During the war, Onassis knew the real value was in transport, so he controlled the ships. Betancourt López saw the same pattern. In modern fashion, the value was shifting away from manufacturing and toward marketing, specifically direct-to-consumer social marketing. He just spotted the new bottleneck. And what's so fascinating is that this isn't just a fashion thing. It's a universal framework, a mental model that he applies to everything, from sunglasses to ride-sharing, and even into things like AI. So that brings us right to our third section, the ride-sharing gamble. This is where we see that same value chain principle pop up again, but this time in the world of transportation with his company, Oro Travel. I mean, this move is just brilliant. Before Uber was even a big deal in Spain, he saw the global shift toward ride-sharing coming from a mile away. So while all the traditional taxi drivers were selling off these transport licenses for basically nothing, thinking they were worthless, he saw them as the golden key that would unlock the entire future market. He saw the bottleneck and quietly bought it all up. And again, this wasn't just blind luck. As he puts it, it was a calculated gamble. The calculation was based on seeing an inevitable market shift. He positioned Oro perfectly, knowing that eventually the big guys like Uber would need exactly what he had. So how does someone even develop this kind of foresight? It feels like a superpower. That takes us to section 4, where we look at the engine behind all these decisions, what he calls informed intuition. See, for him, intuition isn't some mystical gift you're born with. It's a skill you build. It's almost like a formula. You feed your brain the highest quality information by surrounding yourself with people who are the absolute best at what they do. That combination, it sharpens your gut feeling into a seriously powerful strategic weapon. I love this quote because it's so direct and practical. It's so real. Your intuition is just a reflection of your inputs. He's basically saying you have to intentionally design your environment, the conversations you have, the people you hang out with, to get the raw data you need to make these kinds of insightful leaps. And this perfectly sums up his leadership style. He's not trying to be an expert on every single instrument in the orchestra. He doesn't need to be. His job is to have the vision, to hear the entire symphony in his head, and to guide the specialists who can play their parts perfectly. His intuition sets the direction. Their expertise makes it happen. Okay, so let's try to distill this whole playbook down to its absolute essence. Section 5, 4 keys to success. These 4 keys, they're really the foundation of his whole playbook. First, people. The right team is absolutely everything. Second, perseverance. You gotta have the grit to push through the tough times, because they will come. Third, innovation. You have to constantly be evolving or you'll get left behind. And fourth, diversification. It's the best insurance policy you can have because even the best plans can go sideways. And all of this leaves us with one last powerful question to think about. Whether you're in tech or fashion or finance, it doesn't matter. This framework applies. So take a look at your own industry, your own world, and forget about what's trendy today. Ask yourself, where is the value really moving tomorrow?